If you're an Amazon seller that does fulfilled by merchant shipments or is looking to do fulfilled by merchant shipments, then this video is very important because Amazon is changing their rules and requirements that could affect your account health starting on September 25th, 2024. Now, if you're watching this video after that date, you still should be watching this to make sure that you have your shipping settings set up properly to protect your account as much as possible inside of Amazon Seller Central, because ultimately this is something that is a new policy that will be retroactive, affecting people that had these issues prior to September 25th, 2024, but it's also going to be proactive because these changes will be around for the long haul. And so ultimately, this is something that can affect not only your shipping settings inside of your Seller Central account, but it can also affect your account health and your account itself if you don't follow these rules and ultimately fall below a set metric that Amazon has for on-time delivery rate. Let's get into it. This is going to be a detailed video on a lot of stuff inside the Amazon Seller Central terms of service for fulfilled by merchant settings. Ultimately, I don't do a lot of fulfilled by merchant myself in my business. I do all FBA at this point. I have done fulfilled by merchant in the past. Now, this is a topic that actually came up in my private community called the Business Building Legends community, where I was discussing with a bunch of sellers on a mastermind call, and Bradley Leitner, one of the members of the community, brought this up to all of us that this is going to be a huge change. And it was something that I didn't even hear, even though I keep up to date on all of this news. And so once I found out from this, I got his permission to share his name in this video because I'm so thankful that he brought it up, because I think it's going to be a huge problem for a lot of sellers that needs to be addressed right now before September 25th, 2024, and even after the fact, because it will be a retroactive policy that may not actually be turned on into your account. And if you're interested in checking out the Business Building Legends community that I have, you can check that out at askjimmysmith.com/legends. And ultimately, this is a community for motivated and advanced sellers that deal with these types of things and help one another along the way as they're growing and scaling their Amazon, Walmart, eBay, and other online businesses. Now, let's go ahead and get into the policy. So as you can see here, we're on Amazon's page for frequently asked questions about on-time delivery rate. This is what is changing, is how Amazon will be penalizing sellers for on-time delivery rate and how you can get on-time delivery rate protection by following just a few simple rules. And you can see here, what is Amazon's policy for on-time delivery without promise extensions? There's a lot of words there. Essentially, on-time delivery, for anybody that's brand new, is whenever you have a delivery promise for when a product will be getting to a customer through fulfilled by merchant, whenever you're the one fulfilling the shipment to one of your customers, that product needs to be delivered on time. If you say that there is a handling time of you getting the order, you putting it into a package, you sending it out to the customer, that handling time is 1 day, and then you have 2 days for that delivery to make it there, then there's 3 days for that product to be on time delivery. Now, if that product also has a promise extension, sometimes Amazon will apply a 1-day extension for whatever reason. If that is on there, then it will still show up as on time from the customer's perspective, but from Amazon's perspective, we're talking about an on-time delivery without those promise extensions. Okay, so this is a very specific rule here that we're discussing. Effective September 25th, 2024, you must maintain a minimum of 90% on-time delivery rate without promise extensions to have seller fulfilled products listed on Amazon.com. An on-time delivery rate below 90% can result in restriction of your ability to have seller fulfilled products listed. For a great customer experience, we recommend that you maintain a 95% or greater on-time delivery rate for all seller fulfilled orders. This does say if it's below 90%, you can get your ability to have seller fulfilled products listed removed. I've also seen people have issues with their account if it ever falls below this, because ultimately this is something that can affect your whole account if you aren't meeting those delivery promises. But what's great is Amazon does typically have on-time delivery rate protection, but now they're adding in additional rules that you need to be aware of. So here is what is changing. Our updated policy requires a minimum 90% on-time delivery rate without promise extensions to have seller fulfilled products listed on Amazon.com. If it's below 90%, it can result in restriction of your ability to have seller fulfilled products listed. To help provide this customer experience, we recommend the 95% or greater OTDR for all seller fulfilled orders. We are also changing the way we measure OTDR to now measure the percentage of your tracked seller fulfilled units that were delivered on or before the seller promised delivery by date or deliver by date prior to promise extensions being added. So tracking this other metric here. Before this changed on September 25th, 2024. The on-time delivery rate was measured after promise extensions were added. And so basically, if you got that additional day, as I was describing earlier, then Amazon would take that into consideration and you would still get, even if it took one day longer than what you had initially expected it to do, because that extension was added onto it. Now they are removing the promise extensions. They're starting to track what your deliver by date is prior to the promise extensions. So the promise extensions are additional days that we may add to the delivery date to account for logistical factors that may delay a delivery, such as extreme weather, transportation network constraints, or recent history of a seller delivering shipments after their set delivery date. This policy does not apply to offers using FBA because sellers are not responsible for on-time delivery promises for FBA orders. So essentially, they're getting more stringent rules. They're starting to track now if there is a delay in a shipping carrier, like something gets lost for a day and then it shows up a day late, that's going to be something that you are penalized for because you're not meeting the on-time delivery rate without the promise extension. So there are a few things that you can do to protect yourself from this, and so that's why I'm making this video. But ultimately, you need to make sure that you have these new settings turned on, because that's what's going to protect you as we get into the Q4 season or busy seasons, or maybe just a shipping carrier is running late on some products. Then ultimately, you will have some more protection. Now, here's what happens if the OTDR, the on-time delivery rate, falls below 90% minimum requirement. This can result in restriction of your ability to have seller-fulfilled products listed. If that happens, we'll notify you of the policy violation, and you can appeal this by submitting the appeal at the top of your account health dashboard to request reinstatement of your capabilities to list seller-fulfilled products. Now, you have 72 hours, or the request will be reviewed within 72 hours, and it should include all of this information, issues that led to that, actions you'll take, steps that you've taken to prevent future issues. And then on subsequent policy violations, if the OTDR is still below 90%, you can appeal by clicking Submit Appeal at the top of your account health dashboard. And so this is how you would get reinstated. Here is the important factors of what is now changing. This is what Amazon wants to see on all of their seller-fulfilled customers, or all of their seller-fulfilled sellers in their accounts. So sellers on individual selling plans or the professional selling plan, but shipping from outside the US must submit an appeal request indicating how they will improve their OTDR. For professional sellers that ship domestically within the US, they will be required to meet the 90% OTDR requirement by using the following Amazon free-to-use fulfillment and shipping tools for their seller-fulfilled orders for the next 180 days. Now, this is for reinstatement, and so if you do get your shipping count suspended or restricted for these seller-fulfilled shipments, then you can appeal and say that you're going to turn these things on. But you also want to make sure that you're turning these things on proactively. So one is the shipping settings automation, which we're going to go through that. This sets accurate delivery dates through automated transit time calculations of your preferred shipping methods, and automated handling time to set accurate handling times per SKU based on how long it usually takes you to pass each SKU to the carriers. For new SKUs, the default handling time will apply until there are enough shipments for your automated handling time to be calculated. And then Amazon Buy Shipping, to buy shipping labels that use highly reliable shipping methods for both professional and individual selling plans. You can use Amazon Buy Shipping through Manage Orders, Shipping API, VCO or VQ, however you say it, or select multiple channel integrators with access to Amazon Buy Shipping. So buying your shipping templates through Amazon is becoming even more important than it already was. And one thing I've always recommended is buying your shipping labels through Amazon, because you get further protections by Amazon if there was an A to Z claim or other issues. That's a separate topic, but this just further reinforces that if you're buying it through an Amazon preferred carrier, then this is going to add more protections if you have these other two things in place: shipping settings automation and automated handling time. Now, here's how the OTDR is calculated. Essentially, they will be considering a 14-day window of time. They pull data from shipments that had a promised delivery date in the last 21 days and exclude the most recent 7 days, as the shipments from those last 7 days may still be in the process of being delivered. So for example, if you had 130 units with a promised delivery date in the last 21 days, and 30 of those has a promised delivery date in the last 7, OTDR will be calculated excluding the 30 units from the last 7 days. So 130 minus 30 equals 100 orders that they're going to be using for this rate. Of those 100 units delivered, if 90 were delivered on or before the promised deliver by date, your OTDR would be 90%. And in that case, that would be at the bare minimum of what Amazon is requiring. The seller's promised deliver by date is calculated using seller set handling and transit times prior to the addition of promise extensions, as I've mentioned multiple times. This date may be different than the delivery date shown to customers if promise extensions were added. So for example, for a seller with a set handling time of 1 day and a set transit time of 2, the promise delivered by date will be in 3 business days. So if an order is received on a Monday, this order would need to be delivered by Thursday. The seller promised delivered by date to be considered delivered on time. However, if 1 day of promise extensions was added to that offer, the promised delivery date the customer saw while purchasing would have been Friday, irrespective of the date shown to the customer. So even if they were shown that it'd be delivered Friday, sellers still must deliver by their set deliver by date on Thursday for the shipment to be considered delivered on time. So even though the customer thinks it's going to be there on Friday, Amazon is saying that because of our shipping settings and our handling time, our deliver by date, all of that, they're going to be basing their decisions of the on-time delivery rate on what we have set inside of our Amazon Seller Central. So if it's there on Friday and the customer sees it as, hey, cool, I got it on time, Amazon's going to see it as it was delivered 1 day late, and that will be affecting your OTDR. Okay. Now, shipped units will be considered as OTDR compliant if either the delivery date occurred on or before the deliver by date shown on Seller Central, or the following 3 conditions were met. This is key, okay? So you can be compliant with OTDR if you're always on time, right? So if you're always meeting that on-time delivery day without the promise extension, that's fine. That is the one and only thing that really Amazon cares about. However, they do give one other thing that can protect your Amazon selling account and your shipping settings by having these 3 conditions met, which we just discussed up above on the reinstatements, but let's just go through it again. The shipped SKU was assigned to a shipping template with shipping settings automation enabled. Your account has automated handling time enabled, and you bought an OTDR protected shipping label on Amazon Buy Shipping. These 3 things will protect you even if it gets there late because you have followed Amazon's rules. So that is key, because as we're coming up on some times of the year with the 4th quarter and just busier shipping times, things will get there late, and it's going to happen probably more often than not because of the crazy amount of shipments that go through the country. So this is something that I highly recommend doing. Even if you don't like it, I think that ultimately it's a good decision to have to protect your account, to protect your ability to do FBM shipments and other things. Now, there are some tools that can help you improve your OTDR and meet those requirements, which we're going to discuss here, these 3 options. Additionally, there's some more examples, and so I'm going to go through that before we go through these 3 options. Scenario A, if a seller did not use all 3 of Amazon's free fulfillment and shipping tools for any of those 15 late deliveries, all 15 of those late deliveries will negatively impact your OTDR. So as a result, their OTDR will be 100 minus 15 divided by 100, it's 85%. So you would fall below Amazon's required 90%. Most likely you would get your shipping removed for the ability to do FBM shipments until you got reinstated. Now, scenario B, if a seller used all 3 of Amazon's free fulfillment and shipping tools for 5 of those 15 late deliveries, only 10 late shipments that were not using Amazon's tools will negatively impact the OTDR. As a result, the OTDR would be 90%. So Amazon is giving leeway. If you used all 3 of these things right here, SSA, automated handling time, and Amazon Buy Shipping, then you will have, if you use that on all of the orders, you would have a 100% on-time delivery rate, even if it showed up a week late, because you used Amazon's free tools, is what they're calling it. They're free fulfillment and shipping tools. Now, can I be exempted if your delivery days are caused by weather or carrier network issues beyond my control? It says sellers must meet the 90% requirement without promise extensions. However, if there's a major disruption event, so something that impacts all sellers shipping to a specific region, Amazon will not count deliveries that are late as a result in your OTDR. Whether a disruption is considered to be a major is a discretionary decision made by Amazon. So you don't want to risk it. That's basically what Amazon's saying. You want to make sure to have these things on. They're basically forcing your hand to either ensure that you have these 3 things on or be able to ship so much that you're seeing a consistent on-time delivery rate. I'm not sure how you would do that. I personally think you should have this on. Now, what changes are you making to handling time and transit time settings? There's just more of a shortened description of everything that we just read above for transit time changes as well as the handling time automation. How can you view this report? Now, again, I don't do OTDR or I don't do any fulfilled by merchant stuff, but if you go into your account health, then you can find the shipping performance account health. This is where you'd find on-time delivery rate. Here's the target, over 90%. I have all NA because, again, I don't do FBM. But as you can see here, it's using a time window of 14 days, a promised delivery date of these days as of the time of this recording. And here is all of the information on-time delivery rate without promise extensions and some other links to the policies if you'd like to see those. So that is where you can find the on-time delivery rate metric and report. just by following these instructions. How do you maintain a healthy OTDR? Again, all of those things that we just discussed. So let's get into some of those. Now, first is the automated handling time. So this is if your account has automated handling time enabled, your handling time and order handling capacity is set automatically based on your historic performance for each SKU. The setting allows customers to see a more accurate delivery date, which is typically shorter and usually results in more sales. More information, you can go on to modify order handling capacity, which I believe I have right here. Essentially, this is just showing how this works. You can actually set a little bit more leeway by giving yourself some order handling capacity. So you could set that you can only handle 100 orders in a day or 50 orders in a day. And so essentially, you can set this capacity based on the number of orders that your business can manage within a day. If you receive additional orders beyond this capacity, then those additional orders will have 1 day automatically added to the handling time. So here's the example. If you set your order handling capacity to 100 orders per day and you have a 1 day default handling time, for those first 100 orders, you'll have 1 day to fulfill them. Now, every order after the first 100, you'll have a handling time of 2 days. 1 day default handling time plus 1 day adjustment for the order handling capacity. So this is really nice if you are limited, you're selling a bunch of stuff during Q4, you've got maybe 200 orders that come through in a day and you had a 100 order handling capacity, then you would just have the 1 day to fulfill those 100. You'd have 2 to fulfill the extra 100. And so essentially the buyers will see an expected shipping time that is 1 day longer, and Amazon automates this. And I'll go through how to set this up in just a second, how to set your order handling capacity. But it actually plays in to the automated handling time. So you don't have to constantly update your default handling time and manually configure SKU specific handling times. Automated handling time configures the most accurate for each SKU based on your historic performance. Now we have to trust that they're doing this properly, but ultimately it's a fairly simple thing to get set up. Now, anything with exceedingly long handling times, the automated handling time will set more accurate and shorter delivery promises. Here's the order handling capacity that we just discussed. If you use automated handling time, it uses your historic data based on the maximum number of orders that you fulfilled in the last 90 days to calculate the number of orders that you can handle in a day. So it will kind of help set that capacity for you. And then once the limits reach, customers will see a delivery promise 1 day longer, as we discussed. So here's how you will set this up. It's very simple. All you have to do is go to your shipping settings, general shipping settings tab, scroll down to handling time and click edit, and then toggle to turn on automated handling time and click save. So if I go over to that screen, this is what this looks like whenever you follow those instructions. Handling time right now, automated, is not active. I have a default handling time of 1 day. There is no capacity currently set, and then there are SKU level handling times if you want. Now, essentially, to change any of this data, all you have to do is click on edit, and whenever you click on edit, you will be taken to this page, which is the order handling settings. Now you can turn on your automated handling time by clicking this button, and that will allow you to turn that on, and that way you're compliant with one of the 3 rules for Amazon's OTDR protection. And you can also have a default handling time. 1 day is typically what most people use. If you are really quick with it, you can do same day, but ultimately I would do 1 day. And then order handling capacity, you can set this up however you want to. Ultimately, if you just want to do 15 orders in a day, you can do that. If you want to do 50 or 100, that is up to you. Obviously, the more that you have, the faster delivery times that Amazon will show to the customer, but you must hit those metrics because that's one of the rules, right? If you're trying to have OTDR protection, you need to make sure that all of your shipments get out within this order handling capacity that you've set, because ultimately if you miss that handling time, if you're a day late on the handling time, you will not be protected. You need to make sure to hit this handling time either way. So ultimately that has always been the rule. You need to hit the handling time, and then ultimately the delivery date will be next. Let's get into the shipping settings automation. This is the second out of the 3 rules. So this is a feature that will, or on your shipping templates, that automatically calculates more accurate delivery dates for your customers based on your warehouse location, the location of your customers, up-to-date carrier transit time for the shipping services you use based on data from their past deliveries. So it will set automated transit times that reflect carriers' actual delivery capabilities for the shipping services you already use. This isn't doing anything different. These are the shipping services you use. This avoids manual transit time calculation efforts. It will also let you provide customers with more accurate delivery promises, which increases the likelihood of them making a purchase and helping you to be featured more frequently. So I know this is a lot, but ultimately it's pretty easy to get set up. Here's the benefits of doing so. It just kind of talks about some of those benefits. And here's how you enable the shipping settings automation. It's a pretty lengthy, 12-step process, but it doesn't take too long. All you have to do is go to your settings, go to your shipping settings, go to your shipping templates tab. Now, if you want to create a new shipping template, such as my self-fulfilled shipping, you can do that. Or if you already have shipping templates, you can just edit those templates on that side of the screen. And then you're going to turn on shipping settings automation. And then you're going to select all of these things, your ship from location that you want to automate self-fulfilled shipping settings. Then you answer all of these questions, and it's pretty simple process. So essentially you would go over to your template. You would have whatever template you currently use here. You would either be creating a new one or editing an existing one. And then you'll turn on shipping setting automation here, and then follow those steps to set it up for those carriers that Amazon has available for you. So that's where you're going to see all of that. You're going to review your preferences, click confirm, edit your shipping fee for your shipping regions, click save template, and then you are ready to go from there. And so it's a very simple process. Ultimately, there are some other frequently asked questions here in terms of order fulfillment requirements and all of these things. But when you do this, when you set up the three things that Amazon is going to be requiring: shipping settings automation that we just discussed, automated handling time, and you buy your shipping through Amazon's preferred carriers and through Amazon Buy Shipping with one of these methods: manage orders, shipping API, VCO, or select multi-channel integrators with access to Amazon Buy Shipping. And if you choose shipping labels marked as OTDR protected, then you're good to go. Every time that you ship an order to a fulfilled by merchant customer of yours, you are protected. Your shipping settings will be protected if you follow this process. I know that it's kind of a lot. This has been a longer video than I even expected that it would be, but Amazon is really clamping down on this, and they're doing it right before Q4 intentionally because so many delivery packages get delivered late during Q4. So you need to make sure that you are following those settings. Ultimately, you can find that. You can search for this on Google if you'd like to find it, or you can search for it inside of Amazon's help articles and policies. If we go up to the top, frequently asked questions about on-time delivery rate. Ultimately, you could also find the on-time delivery rate inside your shipping performance and click through to see the policies and all of the details of that to find this. Now, it can update. This may change in the future. I'm making this video, before September 25th, 2024. So this could change in the future depending on when you see it. But either way, if you're seeing this before that date or after the date, you want to make sure that you're following these tools and these new requirements, because it will protect your ability to do fulfilled by merchant shipments. Ultimately, this is a lot here. It will be very quick to set up. I mean, you saw how quick it was to get to the automated handling time. Just turn that on, add in some of the additional information for giving yourself a certain amount of orders that you're going to handle in a day, and that's very quick. It'll take less than a couple minutes to do that. The shipping settings automation also is fairly quick. You just have to select which shipping carriers and what you typically like to use for your shipments. And once you're done with that, then that is all set up, and then you just have to buy your shipping through Amazon. Fairly simple process. Once it's set up, you're done. Make sure that everything is listed on the right template. If you are listing SKUs with a shipping template and you have multiple, make sure you're listing on the ones that have both of those enabled, because ultimately that is a huge piece of this. If you're listing on the wrong shipping template, you're not going to be covered because you have to use the right shipping template in this exact instance. But if you have any questions, leave them down below. Again, I'm not a fulfilled by merchant expert in any way, but with Q4 coming up as of right now and there's new changes coming up, this could result in people losing their ability to do fulfilled by merchant shipments because of the changes in the rate, because of the changes in removing the additional promised day delivery. They're only doing it based off of the amount that you set, not based on that additional day that sometimes they give to those orders. A lot of big changes, but ultimately if you set up these three things, you will be good to go. If you're interested in checking out a free community for Amazon and e-commerce sellers, I recommend going to bit.ly/MST group. That link is below and in the description. Additionally, if you're looking for a paid community of motivated sellers, experienced and advanced sellers looking to grow and scale their business, you can apply to join the Business Building Legends community that I mentioned at the beginning of the video at askjimmysmith.com/legends. Now, I hope this video helps you and blesses you, and you have a great rest of your day and a blessed rest of your week.